Hey, yo, guys, welcome back. Thanks for tuning in to Tactics Talk. It is me, Guido, and I am here. Here we are. We have Drushi from Drushi, something like that. How do you say that? I don't know. Drushi from the clan For Him 3 in his Tier 6 T50-2 Russian light tank. And sent this in to me and asked for some comments on it. So we'll take a look at it. I just got done watching it once, and we'll take a look at it again with everybody here. He gets up into this nice spotting position. I like this. And the MT-25 is coming his way. He backs out, not wanting to get spotted. Watch out about backing out behind cover because all their campers up there will have shots into your side. In addition to anyone who's filtered from their spawn down here into this part of the town will be able to shoot you in the side, and you're in danger of getting proxy lit. So I'd have gone straight back if that's what you were trying to do. Maybe over in this area to maintain distance so you don't get proxy lit, or if he just YOLOs over top. As it is right here, you are kind of exposed. So what we're going to talk about here is both passive and active scouting. He sort of starts active, he backs there and gets lit, and very lucky he didn't take any shots right there. And now it comes up and over this hill. And again, exposing yourself. Be careful about that way of running away. If you go too high on this hill, you expose yourself to shots from their guys back here. But we get away, that's good. And so we kind of take this active role initially, and I think that's a good idea. The T50-2 is very maneuverable. It was a gift tank from Wargaming for people who had been with the company for a long time as customers. Pretty cool. About, I guess, last year, maybe 2 years ago at this point. It was in the game a long time ago, got removed, and then got added back as a Tier 6 premium light tank. So Drew does a little active, and then he kind of bails out of there as his team gets up there. You'll notice his team is very passive. Look at this. There's nobody in town. Not one. Where did the T-32 even go? I didn't see that until later. I have no idea where he is. Oh, he's way over in the corner, in the bottom right corner. Okay, so it's the entire team has camped. So he comes up to this bush. I don't ever use this bush. In fact, I didn't even really know it was here, to be quite honest. It's not very useful. I guess you can see people moving around in here, although you are a little, well, you're probably just below the ridge. Right there, but rarely is someone going to blitz across the open this early in the game. So I think this is a late game bush to use for trying to find out where they are as they're moving around. You can see that a lot of your team, though, is pushing up there over on the west side, and I really don't think they have much there. They have the A-44 and another tank. The problem, of course, is their snipers up here will be trying to shoot your guys. And then Drew moves around, and we do this kind of run through the city, and this is unbelievably dangerous. We almost tip over. You don't have anybody in town. The IS has just barely got in there. If you come down one of these alleyways and there's 2 or 3 tanks, you're pretty much done. As a matter of fact, you see that guy, and now we're kind of wiggling and jiggling, trying to get away. So, I don't know. The usefulness of that active run was very low because clearly a lot of their tanks are probably in there. The 110's already, I guess you did like the 110, so there's a little SA. But I would be surprised if they didn't have 3 or 4 or more tanks in there. It'd be highly unusual if their team was all on the edges. Why? Because, well, you haven't found them over here, and they're not pushing in over here. And now we just take this line straight across this open area, and it's been so long, and your team has done so little scouting over here, it's probably also obvious that there would have been somebody or multiple somebodies down in there. We survive it somehow. It was here that I noticed that you're carrying 2 repair kits. I would absolutely carry a first aid kit, because if your commander gets wounded in this thing, it's almost useless as a scout because the view range is so small. You really, really need to carry a a human repair kit, a first aid kit. We get some spotting on the Thunderbolt. Good. This is good. I'm glad you know that this route through the swamp area is the way to go. You can see these bushes all built up. You can move back and forth in this, provided you don't get proxy lit. With most scouts in the game, no problem right through here, and this is what Drew is doing. So good on you. Now we're going to get to a part of the game here, and I'm going to end up speeding through it. We'll talk about a little bit of it, and then I will go 2 times or 3 times speed. We see the 100Y, and I think not firing is a good idea here. Why? Because there seems to be a few tanks posted up over here. You see the King Tiger T, C, not T, the 110, 301P. That Sioux is on the other side of town. And unfortunately, where you are doesn't have a whole. You don't have a whole lot of sniper help, right? The Hellcat just died because I don't know where he fired from, but he clearly got seen. The 100Y 101, the 101 is sort of in the back right there, and then we find the Panther sitting on the edge, and we're kind of happy to sit here. Well, look what's going on in the west that you bailed out of. I think there's limited use here. You did get rid of the Thunderbolt and the 1357, and maybe that was a good deal, and you start to kind of spot guys and get them lit, and you're probably hoping that the 100 Su-101 will get some damage in on them, but for some reason he's not firing a lot. It looks like he's repositioning now. And the setter's way back there, and the T-32's in the corner. I mean, you just have a really passive team at this point. So let's see how this plays out for just a little bit. You're doing some passive scouting in here. The 100Y got away, and they are all in town. And the majority of your active good players are over on the west side, taking a look over there and attempting to win that promontory. And really, for my money, I think I would have stayed over there and tried to help them. But we're going to sit here for a bit. And we're moving into, flexing into this passive kind of scouting. And I just want you to sort of watch the timer go down as we're sitting here. My question is what I usually ask people that send me replays like this and they do things where they're kind of chilling out like this. My question is, what's the plan? Right? If I had 3 or 4 snipers, the T-32 is almost out of draw range for you. Excuse me. Never mind the Panther 8.8 you can't see, and these guys behind buildings. Now this dude finally starts moving. We have a setter. Your other scout has been sitting in a corner the whole time as well. And this is really kind of crippling your team. Your team has given up all kinds of map control in order to sit around the edges here, other than you now up in the middle. And the good news with what you're doing is you're lighting guys occasionally as they poke out so they know somebody's down in here, right? They have to know there's a scout or someone down in these bushes somewhere. Every time they come around the corner, they're getting lit. And this 100Y comes up, and this 101 that you have is thinking, well, I got to get rid of this guy. So right now you need to be thinking about, all right, how do I leverage this position and grab a little map control back? One of the ways is to make sure this guy goes away. Now, shooting would be a bad idea because if you fired now, the Panther would definitely see you. But you can do some double bush action here, potentially fading back over here and getting 15 meters away from this bush, and then using this as a cover bush. So if you probably faded over to here, I think you could probably shoot, provided you can get over that rise. I don't know if you quite can. But you might be able to investigate the opportunity to shoot this 100Y and get rid of him without being lit. But as it is, we don't really do that. We just kind of chill out right here, hoping against all hope that something good happens. All right? So the options, I think, are, let's get rid of this dude. Then we have a little bit more freedom of movement around here. The CDA's over here. Just let him sit. I don't know why the TVP's pushing him. There's no reason. Once they won this, they should have just all left. If they'd all left and come into town, they might have been able to start beating these guys up down here. But he decides to push. There you go. The 100Y gets hit by the 101, and he really should be dead. There's other things to think about when you're in a position like this. This part of the game is it might potentially have been worth it to try to kill off that 100Y because he was a one-shot, just to remove that gun from the game. But he gets away, and again, you'd have been lit, so you'd have taken aggro from the 8.8 and maybe even a shot from this guy. The other thing I might do here is turn my tank around so that if I do take one of those snaps, I can blitz right back this way towards my help and get away, as opposed to having to run forward or turn, something like that. Look at the 8.8. Now I'm surprised the 100-01, there we go, he does hit him. Now the 8.8 is in the same position as the 100Y is. He's a one-shot to you. So from here, you've been sitting here for a long time. I'd start to look for shots. And once the 100Y died and I'm not lighting up the 8.8, I just snuck to this bush, found this guy, and nuked him right there. Let's get rid of the 100Y. Again, opening up this part of the map. Then I can bail out of here and I can start working around the edges again. Start looking for lights. But we're just going to be content to sit here. And what ends up happening is the 101 on your team gets tired of it. Also, you need to be looking around to see if these guys can see you. The 152, no, okay, good, there's nothing there. We're just sort of staring. I thought you might take that guy down right there. I would have absolutely done that right then. Just go ahead and zoom in on this dude. We'll just pause it. I mean, what kind of shot do you have? You got a great shot, don't you? Oh, yeah, just right into his lower plate. Blip, gone. 21 hit points. Out he goes. And what ends up happening is the 101, like I said just a minute ago, gets tired of this and realizes he's got to get rid of this 100Y. And he expends a bunch of hit points to do so. Comes around the corner. He's in water. He can barely turn. Gets whacked in the side by the 100Y. Tries to square up. Gets hit again by somebody for 265. Probably the 8.8. and we just sort of chill out. And then I'm thinking, okay, well, the 101 broke it open. Now let's do something. Let's get into town and start helping these dudes. But we just sit here. And we got 2,560 assists. That's good. You're showing good knowledge of bushes and the map. But your reaction to what's going on definitely needs to be worked on, because you could get into town and be that assassin. I would go look for, get it going. I would go look for that 8.8, try to come in behind him and take him out, and then work my way in behind the SU-152, try to help my TVP and Challenger. But what ends up happening is your gun is silent, just sitting here. There's the 8.8. You know where he is. Just dive in there and assassinate this guy. Down goes your TVP. All of a sudden, now, crap, now we're losing in town. I'm going to actually speed this up. We sit here for so long not doing anything. You've got to create shots. Even in a scout like this, you are a little bit gimped because you're not carrying a first aid kit and your gunner is hurt. That's hurting you quite a bit as far as getting shots off. And we just sit here while the Challenger is running for his life, trying to survive a 110. And this is one of those things that light tanks and light tank guys who are new to light tanks have to start to learn. You know, they come into it a lot with, well, my gun's terrible, I can't really do anything, I'm just a scout, right? I'm just here for scouting. In this part of the game, you're here for cleanup, to assassinate guys that are hiding behind things like the Panther 8.8. You're faster than he is, you can surprise him, you know where he is. He has no idea where you are, where you're coming from. And we don't do that. We just sort of let it happen. All of a sudden, we're down to the 101 and the setter. The setter is running away again. We push in here. Go up here. Then I would be looking for the Panther, dude. You know the Panther's there. I'd be looking this way. Where is that guy? Can I get a shot on him? There he is. We just sort of snap a shot off. Can't quite get him. He shoots HE. That's even better. He's firing HE out of that gun. This whole sequence, need to work on that. I would get right up into these bushes, right here, so I could actually zoom in and go, what is he behind? But we don't ever do that. We kind of got this third-person view. Look at this and go, can I sneak one into his lower plate? Sure can. But we're just sort of auto-aiming and trying to sneak a shot here and goofing off. And meanwhile, somebody's capping us. And the 100-01, the 101 has no eyes. So he's trying to drive around out in the open there, figuring out how to get a shot. No real reaction to go back to the cap. We're actually pushing. I don't know why we're pushing this way, to be honest. I guess we're looking for artillery. We've assumed that the game is dead or the game is lost. And we just sort of push in here kind of randomly, 8 seconds, 7 seconds. Again, unknown. So a lot of the game spent with no plan, to be quite honest, in there. You got to start to learn how to get the gun in the game for this tank. I gave you a couple of specific concrete examples. I think you could have taken out the 8.8. You could have taken out the 100Y much earlier, saved your SU-101 some of his hit points, moved in to take the 8.8, moved from there to work on the SU-152 to help your guys who are actually still alive in town, and then all of you with all your hit points, go track down the 110, and then deal with the AMX, which is camped the entire game. That's how that really should have gone, and you had a great opportunity to do that right there with this tank. 2,560, good spotting right there. Definitely change your kits to a one. Why can I not remember the word? Jeez. Human repair kit. I've done too many videos today. It is time to put this down and go do something else. But Drew, I hope this helps you out. Hopefully you got a few examples there. I know you're working on your scouting, and I think you got a good idea of bush mechanics and passive scouting and a little bit of the active early intel, but you need to start working on your mid to late game, becoming a more active participant in the game, especially when the guns are down. When you got to that mid to late game, when there were so many less guns and a lot of near deads, this thing really shines right there. All right, guys, thanks for tuning in. That's all I've got. If you want us to help the channel to see too many videos in one day, if you would like to support the channel, it's down there in the descriptions. Later.